August 1963 in Dhaka, Nigeria, Professor Smah has a key skill in scripting, editing, project design and management, monitoring and evaluation, capacity development, teaching, facilitation, and research. He has received advanced academic training and holds a doctorate degree in sociology and criminology from the University of Jos, Nigeria. He is a sociology professor for criminology, criminal justice administration, security studies since the past 14 years. He earned an advanced diploma from the International Academy of Forensics. He earned an online certificate in arbitration and alternative dispute resolution from the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, Geneva, Switzerland. He is a fellow of the International Institute of Certified Forensic Investigation Professionals, USA, and as well a Certified Forensic Investigation Professional, CFIP. He is also certified as a trainer on money laundering, exploding the myths. Africa Center on Distance Education, Quality Control Tool, and Research Policy and Ethics of the National Open University of Nigeria. He holds membership of the International Academy of Forensics, Nigeria, and because of his high standards of management practice, he was awarded a professional practicing license by the Chartered Institute of Management, Nigeria. He is an elected fellow of the Chartered Institute of Management. In addition, for his excellent strength in research, he bagged an honorary appointment to the Research Board of Advisors of the American Biographical Institute for a distinguished standing. He has researched and published extensively in the field of criminology, criminal justice and security studies, and attended many scientific meetings around the world. Professor Smah is presently a resident research consultant and syndicate director of the Strategic Leadership Command Course, February 2021, of the National Institute of Police Studies, Abuja. Professor Smah is presently the Deputy Director General, Pan-African Institute for Development, West Africa, a United Nations University of Applied Development Sciences, Abuja. Prof has written so many books, like we mentioned earlier, and today we are celebrating his book titled Criminal Victimization in Urban and Rural Nigeria. I am privileged and honored to have been asked to review the book written by Professor Smah. The book was published in March 2021. Criminal victimization in urban and rural Nigeria is also a very thoughtful, insightful, and an interesting piece of work, just like every other work of Professor Smah. I have read the book as expected. The main focus of the book is on criminal victimization, its patterns and trends, the corresponding fear of victimization, crime control responses at all levels, and recommendations of what could still be done to improve the situation we're in today. Criminal victimization in urban and rural Nigeria is a book of 257 pages organized into 8 chapters. Chapter 1 of the book is used to set the stage. Based on Chapter 1, we are meant to understand that criminal victimization is one of the major social problems facing Nigeria. The problem has been with us from time to time and from regime to regime. The current reality of criminality is that it knows no bounds. Anybody can be victimized at any time and at any place. Age and social class does not matter, neither does your location matter. One explanation given for the existing crime problems is the fact that life-enhancing opportunities are found only in the hands of few people in the society. So, the socio-cultural inequalities and injustices we have in Nigeria in the mode of the distribution of national wealth, opportunities, and social services have formed the foundation and basis for most of our crime problems today. When socially acceptable means of attaining culturally defined successes are unreachable to people, the result is frustration. And when they are frustrated, they resort to antisocial means of behavior in trying to solve their personal problems. In chapter 2, the author reviewed the related literature on this subject and also presented the theoretical framework upon which the study is based. Based on chapter 2, the rate, trend, pattern, and pressure of crimes are indicators of the health of any society. The incidences of crime in any society would naturally correspond to the degree of sophistication of their operation. So, as the society changes, so does its crimes. Criminal victimization, we are meant to remember, varies from society to society, from community to community, and can take any of two major forms, personal and economic. Crimes like robbery, burglary, and automobile theft are attributed more to the urban areas than the rural settings. In the developing world like ours, males are the main agents of victimization. Cities, naturally, are characterized by the existence of violent subcultural entities whose operations challenge both formal and informal crime control. They perpetrate violence in the neighborhood, creating fear and insecurity in the residents. In Nigeria, crimes are violent in nature. Lagos, as a large city, contributed to a greater proportion of violent crimes in Nigeria in the 1990s. In our country, Nigeria, law enforcement by the police has become institutionalized means of citizen victimization, many people think. From highway to community policing, citizens have been routinely intimidated and harassed by some members of the police force, plus the shooting and killing of innocent citizens. Our newspapers, radio, and television reports throw light on the extent of crime we have in Nigeria. Our police reports and prison admissions indicate a growing trend of crime in our country. The most common victims of common crimes are the common people, while the perpetrators are mostly the young. When it comes to serious crimes such as robbery, grievous assaults, and assassination and related violence, these are carried out by well-organized armed gangs and syndicates and are directed at the well-to-do in the society. Using the strength or anomie theory, the author in chapter 2 explained the dangers of disconnecting people from enabling resources needed for the attainment of socially and culturally defined goals and successes. Then in chapter 3, the author presented the research design used in the study. The study was based in Plateau State, and the population for the study included all individuals of both gender, all religious beliefs, and all educational and occupational status, people of all income levels, and individuals of at least 6 years of primary school. The author employed non-experimental research design in his work. There were 3 types of samples for the study. 1, the sample for the police division. 2, sample for the individual respondents. And 3, the in-depth interviewees sample. He used different techniques of sample selection where appropriate. For instance, he used probability and non-probability techniques. He used purposive and quota sampling. He used the fishbowl method, and he equally used the simple random selection to select a sample. The dependent variables he used for the study were the crime and fear of crime. The independent variables were respondents, biographical data, and socio-economical residential attributes of respondents. The major instruments for the primary data collection was questionnaire, and the techniques of data analysis used were descriptive, bivariate, and multivariate statistical techniques. In chapter 4, the author examined the extent and patterns of crime in Plateau State. Data used in his analysis were based on crimes known to the police. The comparison between personal and economic crimes in the state indicates that the police recorded more economic crimes than personal crimes. The total incidences of economic crimes were greater than person and other crimes. Economic crimes were the author's result of victim survey, the author explained that relative to the populations, crime rates in rural areas were higher than that of urban areas, although from time to time there are variations characterized by rise and fall in between the years. Then in chapter 6, the author examined co-variations of fear of crime, victimization, and crime control. Using bivariate correlation and multiple regression analysis, the author established that criminal victimization creates fear in people, and this fear in turn provokes responses and measures taken at all levels to minimize the extent to which citizens are victimized. However, different crime control measures are adopted by the individuals, neighborhoods, and the government. In chapter 7, the author discussed the findings of his study. Considering the extent of crimes in the state, total crimes were less in Plateau State during the period studied compared to other years. Economic crimes were higher than personal and other crimes. With respect to selected categories of crimes, theft and stealing were higher than other categories of crime. In terms of trend, crimes generally declined in the state in the period studied, but according to the author, the traffic offenses increased during the same period. A bivariate correlation analysis showed that rape and stealing were correlated with age. A composite bivariate analysis showed a strong relationship between biographic and socioeconomic variables and personal as well as economic crimes. Then a multivariate analysis showed a significant predictive relationship between age, occupational status, educational status, and income in explaining various motives. Analysis shows that age was a significant predictor of stealing. In the lower level socioeconomic residential area, more crimes were recorded. Then in chapter 8, the findings of the study were summarized and concluded with policy recommendations. In spite of the formal institutions of crime control, such as the police, fear of crime was widespread in the population. Individual victimization survey report showed high proportion of fear due to criminal victimization. The collapse of individual, neighborhood and national security and safety led to increased fear of life and property. Government failure to provide adequate security for the citizenry has forced many people to use up their personal money to take personal measures to minimize the chances of being victimized in their homes, their offices, and their shops. The author finally presented some recommendations that if we follow it properly, then there is hope that the situation on ground will be improved. According to the author, recommendation number 1, factors encouraging widespread criminal victimization in the society should be practically addressed. In other words, government poverty alleviation programs should be pursued with sincerity of purpose. Any government or society that is concerned with public order and security should pay adequate attention to the socially generated motivators or amplifiers of crime. Recommendation number 2, a deliberate urbanization and social development blueprint must not only be produced, but be implemented to direct the movement of people away from urban to rural areas. Why? Because overcrowding is a critical variable in creating artificial inadequacy and lack. A development policy that aims at rural and semi-urban areas in the provision of social amenities and facilities are recommended. Then here's recommendation number 3. Nigerian government should overhaul the present formal institutions of law enforcement, in particular the police, because the performance of the Nigerian police is not exactly what we want it to be. As civil organization, police has rather become the military in its disposition towards the citizenry. Then in his recommendation number 4, the study recommends a formalization and recognition of informal crime control organizations in Nigeria, specifying the nature of the relationship that should exist between them and the communities and the police. Then in recommendation number 5, there should be a comprehensive crime victim compensation policy in Nigeria. And in his recommendation number 6, a victim complaint registry should be opened in designated location to facilitate the accumulation of accurate data. for the whole nation's crime control policy. And this should be administered by a special agency made up of the police, criminologists, social psychologists, and respected community leaders. As you can see, crime has come to stay, and unless we do what is needful, crime remains with us at Aram late. The book is a must-read for the general public, researchers, students of criminology and security studies, and social control agencies in the country. So I highly recommend the book because the book is very thoughtful and insightful and will help our country, give our policymakers and all stakeholders that are involved in changing our policies who will listen to these recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anadi. We appreciate that excellent in-depth review of this amazing book. It is time for us to go to the reason why we're here, which is the reason for the reason, the unveiling of this session. But I must say on a very lighter but yet very strong note that though I have been married for just about 10 years, so I think I have the authority to speak in that regard, that if the atmosphere is good and amiable, it is possible to bet and indeed conceive great things. For what the amiable professor has done that we're celebrating today, there is every reason for us to also appreciate the presence of his quintessential wife, who is also present here with us today. So please, can you please let's go with a hand for recognition. Thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate you for being a part of this glorious completion. Thank you. So it is time now for us to invite the chairman of this occasion to give us his opening speech. That will precede the unveiling. His Excellency Colonel Rashid Shekhani retired. Please, a round of applause for him.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I welcome all of you to this august occasion, and I want to thank you for coming. Let me stand by the existing protocol. I don't want to take too much of our time. First, let me thank Sam for the honor he has given me to chairman this occasion. I have never, or had always rejected being chairman of occasions before now. In a quiet way, he's slipped it in for him to accept. I don't accept even for marriages. I always tell my friends, even when they try to blackmail me, that I must be chairman at their children's occasions. I always say, we don't want me to eat on the yam and for you with the stockfish and everything that goes with it. So I tell them to back out, that I want to enjoy my day. Thank you so much, Sam, for this honor you have given me. I want to I'm not surprised at your achievement. In our class, we used to have this group who we call the FCM. FCM means best class materials. In our class, and Professor Sam and our able leader was one of some of the few edits in that group. So I'm not surprised to hear the achievement. The Yoruba has said a lot about the book. I'm trying to read it myself as a sociologist. The research is very detailed and very academic. Well done. victimization in Nigeria. It is not just the individuals or groups, privileged or the less privileged. The country itself is a victim. And the victimization is serial. It's serial both horizontally and vertically. So we sit down here, we are taking it on a daily basis, we are victimized one way or the other, and we accept it as a people. This cannot continue. We have to really check it. Because I want to start with something that happened in one of our lecturers, Professor Justice I walked into the class one day. He had a 2 hours lecture with us, and he just walked to the board. Why do we seek knowledge? And he said he was going, he had a 2 hours lecture with us, and he said he was going to use 1.5 hours for the lecture. And then he was going to use the balance 30 minutes for everybody to answer that question verbally. Every student had about 1 minute to answer. Why do we seek knowledge? All in all, we all came up with one thing about success. Growing up, being able to develop and all these things. And in the end, he just walked back to the board and wrote a word, truth. And from that day, he stuck to me that we seek knowledge for truth. And thereafter added 2 words. Justice and peace. Without truth, without justice, we aren't getting anywhere. I left public service over 2 decades ago. My experience even in the business world is worse. It's terrible. You people now you are so much by your staff, by your accounting staff, technical staff, everybody feels it. And even when you get to complain, the policing process also victimizes you. I remember a friend, he lost about 3 million. His